my mic. Is it picking up now? All right. Well, there's something that I was wanting to talk about for a long time, but I've just not even had the interest in streaming because I don't make money on this shit. I don't make money doing any of this. It's just me doing it because I enjoy it, I guess, if you will. Why is my mic hanging down so low? Something broke loose. Come on, man. It's crazy. You got to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars on equipment that actually works good. You got to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on good equipment because companies don't want to release or don't want to hold up any type of end of their bargain. They want to just sell you what they think is good, knowing it's not. It's just it's BS. But there's something that, I mean, I've been talking about for a long time. I mean, all this stuff I've been talking about for so friggin' long. I'm tired of talking about it. It's why I wanted to stop. I've tried to stop streaming. Still want to do it anymore. It's gotten to the point where I love it, but I don't enjoy it because I don't get paid to do it. I don't get paid to do it. And in this world of everything costing arms and legs and trying to bury the working class and trying to bury good people, I just can't. I could barely afford to survive and live. I finally just got a vehicle again, and I'm so far behind on all of my bills. It's like none of it even really matters. I feel like none of it actually matters, and all the work that I'm putting in on everything is just me working toward my own end. It's just, and the country in the United States is not getting any better. Like we're being told you're going to have to deal with all the inflation of prices and gas, and you're going to have to deal with it because we wanted to go to war with Iran because Israel said so. So we're going to do that. We're going to go to war with Iran because Israel has been at war with Iran for whatever, how long. Israel said they attacked them, so we're going to go with that. We're going to go with that. We're going to take your money. We're going to send it to war. We're going to, and if it gets bad enough, we're going to send you to war. We're going to send your kids to war. We're going to send you to war. We're just going to be a war. I said I wasn't going to start any wars, but I mean, I didn't expect Israel and Iran to go to war. So it's like, we're expected to buy in to all of this. We're expected to buy in to allowing our money to be siphoned out of our own pockets, pushed into the pockets of a politician who doesn't actually know what it's like to struggle in society, doesn't know what it's like to sit in traffic, doesn't know what it's like to have to constantly have your insurance rates hiked up because of how many claims you have because you can't afford to live in any neighborhood that's better than the neighborhood you currently live in. So then and I mean, crime doesn't go to suburbs. I mean, the crime that is in suburbs is usually like the guy that's lost his mind and murder suicided his family, or the guy that's been sexually assaulting his children for his entire life, or their entire life. I mean, that's the kind of stuff you see in suburban. That's suburban crime. It's like the stuff that's like hellacious, the heinous crime. You see the same stuff in the poor communities, but a lot of the crime in the poor community literally would go away. It would go away if people had actually had access to things, and things didn't cost somebody else's life to get it. And that's what people are at the point of. People are at the point of, I don't care who I gotta murder, rape, kill, put in the ground. I'm expected to put out money in this society. Everything is unaffordable. Everything. Air is unaffordable. You try breathing, you have somebody telling you you're doing that wrong, and you better watch out. You might have to pay a fine for that. This country has gotten so sick that the only cure is drastic measure. I mean, it's a terrible thing to say, but it's actually what has to happen. It's actually what has to happen. Because the politicians are still protecting each other. They're finding ways to hide their crimes. They're finding ways to hide their fraud. They're finding ways to throw people under the bus. They're passing, literally, I just watched a video about the government trying to pass a bill that basically puts an end to independent journalism. Literally, anybody who thinks that they will be able to go out and ask somebody a question because this just doesn't seem right with them. As a matter of fact, for instance, what this bill would ultimately do, it would kill the Karenism thing in some grocery stores. But say you have an issue on your grocery bill and you go back to that store and you're like, hold on, there's not something not right here. If that person, that company or that person is in a bad way that day, they can hit you with that because it says they're defining harassment as basically unwarranted questioning. If they don't want to, if they think your questions aren't warranted, they can hit you with that act. And that is disgusting. This is what this country has become. This country has become 20 years of people making the same games, getting away with it by calling it something else every few times, but still reverting back to that original game that they made. And yes, I am referring to Elden Ring. People say, oh, it's a beautiful game. That's game of the year material. No, that is this. I don't know how this game won game of the year. This is a terribly designed game. It's not hard. It has a copy pasta amount of mechanics throughout the entire game, beginning to end. It's copy pasta formula. It's not ingenuity. It's not imagination. It's copy pasta. And I'll always go back to Dark Souls 1 and why Dark Souls 1 is so good and why this is so bad is because of what they thought they were doing here. Instead of actually making a new game, making something different, not following the same Dark Souls formula, but actually doing something different. Maybe the telling of this story wouldn't be so cumbersome. Maybe playing this game wouldn't feel like it's more of a chore and just a continuation of cutting your own wrists than playing a video game whose focus is to tell the story in a unique way, in a very entertaining way, to where you actually capture something from it. You don't capture anything from this game. It's an amalgamation of a bunch of quests that you don't know exist, thrown together with a main quest you don't really know exists, but it does exist. Because you're told in the beginning of the game it does exist, but you don't really know exists. It gives you no real formula on what to do, where to go. And everybody wants to say, well, that's because you could go to the last boss at level 1. Yeah, somebody who's never played a Dark Souls game ever in existence is going to show up at what the hell's his name? Radigan. Yeah, a level 1 freshie is actually going to show up to Radigan, the Golden Order, at level 1. Yeah, because there's so much of a prodigy in gaming that's exactly their strategy in gaming. Go from beginning to end as fast as possible, with skipping everything in between. Yeah, that's the day one gamer's mentality of gaming. No, that is the person who's speed running a game and speeding running every game. This is who FromSoftware builds games for. They don't want to build game for a gamer. They want to build games for speedrunners and people who have 16 hours a day to dump into gaming. They don't care. They absolutely hate you if you're a casual gamer. All of you casual gamers, they hate you. They hate you with a passion, which is why they don't give you a rest in the game. Those times that you take your rest, have to go to work, go to do whatever, your family, whatever. The time that you rest to go do that, the game respawns it all. Sends it all back. Like, I do not like the fact that you made any progress in this, so I'm going to undo all of that progress and make you work through it again. So you better speed run and one shot my boss, or you're going to be here for a few days. And we will purposely lock you into it, which is why they have dungeons where you drop in and you can't get out. You can't TP out. You can't instantly just catch a staircase out. No, you in, and that's it. You better hope you got what it takes to beat the boss, or you will die and you will be stuck there. They purposely build their games. I mean, it would be one thing if it was a troll game, because then it wouldn't be that long. You could get through it in a few hours and essentially the money's spent because you know it's a troll game. No, they built this AAA blockbuster hit, but then once you get through the doors, it's all troll game. It's all troll game, all meme game, all just literally, we hate you as a gamer, and the fact that you bought our game, we're going to laugh in your face while we sit and punish you for buying our game. We don't want to actually tell you the story, because by the time you actually get through the story and know the story, you will forget 90% of it, because it's taken you 200 plus hours. It didn't take me 200 hours to beat the game. It took me like 60 hours to beat the game. It would have taken me normal game time to beat the game if it wasn't made purposely as a punishment. Like, you chose to be a gamer, here's your punishment. That's what these games are. FromSoftware makes games that are meant to just punish the gaming world and not entertain it. They're not here to tell you a story. They don't give a fuck that you want to hear the story of this. They don't care. You go to YouTube. Somebody on YouTube has sat and endured the 16 hours a day, 7 days a week it takes to actually fight through this game and not want to burn the building down that it came out of. Like, if I could delete all of the backup copies, delete everything about FromSoftware from every bit of the existence, I would delete them, just so they could not release another game in the Dark Souls realm. I don't care. Call it Elden Ring, call it Sekiro, call it Elden Ring Night Rain, or whatever the hell you're calling it. Oh, you added 24-hour co-op ability for Night Rain. Why? Because the gamers stopped buying your fucking game. Like, people stopped buying your game. It's like, oh, another Dark Souls game. I'm not going to buy that. I don't need to. I could tell you what the story is. A calamity hit and you gotta fix it. Boom. I told you the story. Sorry, spoilers. Spoiler alert. Calamity. Fix it. It's literally Dark Souls or FromSoftware's entire model. Calamity, fix it. We're not going to tell you how the calamity happened, but with a few slivers of paper that you pick up throughout the map. Other than that, we don't care that you know the story. We want to punish you for the rest of the time you're playing. And Ubisoft got put out of business for this model. This is the model that it drove Ubisoft out of business, this model. And what's fascinating about it is that with Ubisoft, yeah, they were releasing the same game for 20 years, but it was the same game within the same realm. Like, it was all the same story, or it was the same world, same realm. They're kind of like lackadaisically doing what Bethesda's done. Well, they've evolved a lot over the course of their history, and yet they still sold off their future. Makes no sense to me, but again, Ubisoft was kind of doing the lazy version of that. Why is it that this company can do the even lazier version of that? They're not even changing anything. Like, Ubisoft was telling a story within that realm. Because, I mean, they're dealing with their own version of real life seamed into this fictional world. They're trying to build this world around it. FromSoftware, they build their stories around you, the character, having to do something to do with world calamity. Dark Souls 1. Something happened to the world, you need to figure it out and fix it. Well, you have to fix it. There's no figure it out. You don't ultimately really don't figure out what the hell is happening. It just, shit's happened. You're the one that's got to fix it. Sorry about your luck. And it's all the Dark Souls game. Sekiro's the same thing. Something's happened in the world. Save this kid. Elden Ring. Something's happened in the world. Rebuild the ring. They've changed nothing. They've done nothing different. They've changed nothing. They've made a few tweaks here and there just so somebody couldn't actually say, well, it's the same game. Well, no. Night Rain's got multiplayer. Elden Ring original, it's got an open world map. The map is way bigger than Dark Souls 2 and 3. Dark Souls 1 didn't even have an open world map. Like, those are the things that people would argue that makes this game and this company a great company. They've made 2 or 3 tweaks here and there. And they're still selling it. They took away your shield in Sekiro and added a multi-tool. Added a Gerber. They took away your shield so you could actually parry. Added the parry to the sword and gave you a Gerber. Like a Swiss Army knife. A Swiss Army knife that shoots firecrackers. Like, it's stupid. They literally have done nothing with their game. They've made no game after Dark Souls 1 that is like, man, I'm so glad I have actually played that. No, I've played all of their games just to say, yeah, I've played them. I've played them, and I hope that I never actually have the need to be punished again, because I don't want to ever play their games again. And the bad thing is like, I'm not a fan of their games. It's like, when they release one and people are like, yeah, that's the greatest game in the world. I'm like, is it though? And then I have to try it. It's like, something in me is like, you need to get it. You need to get it and prove to them why the game is not that good. Why it's not the best game that ever made. No, it's not. It's below average, mediocre story, and it's lazy. It's absolutely lazy. You can't say it's not when they've changed nothing about their combat system. And you know that by looking at the backstabs and the riposts, or the parry counter. That's how you can tell that they've done nothing different. Their combat system is the same. And you can't say, well, they've evolved their graphics. No, they're not. They've changed their graphics as the shift from people really not caring about the graphics and just wanting to play the games for the story and to be able to play the game, to neckbeards like, yeah, man, I got a 4K monitor, 70 inches. This game looks amazing. I spent $15,000 on my game. That's what they make these games for. They don't make games for gamers. They make games for people who boast about how much money they've spent on their setup. While most of us are still getting by on setups pre-COVID. Like, I don't need a game to have 4K, 9K graphics to be able to tell you it's good. As a matter of fact, this is actually a phenomenal game. I'm trying to return it because I need the money to pay bills. I bought it stupidly. I didn't think about something and I bought it and, oh shit, I need that back. But it wasn't after I played it and then realized. So it's like, but this is a phenomenal game. It's simple. It's simple. It doesn't try too hard. It's not telling you, well, you need to go around the map and collect all these thousands of different weapons and you're never going to use none of them. Spread out a bunch of icons and then hid them. There again, FromSoftware is Ubisoft. Ubisoft of a harder game style. As a matter of fact, Assassin's Creed 2. It's either Assassin's Creed 2 or Brotherhood, where the difficulty was actually tied to your health bar. The longer your health bar got, the harder the game got. So if you were one of the people like me who just like went around and collected everything and just like skipped the story, the game was fucking hard, really hard, because you basically maxed out the level for the game based on your health bar. And that's how I played the original Assassin's Creed game. I went around and collected everything. I played them that way. I play all those games that way. When you put an icon on a map and tell me there's something there, and then you don't specify what it is, and if it's actually useful to me, I'm going to go there to find it out, figure it out for myself. I'm a figure it out for myself kind of guy. Which is why this game is a phenomenal game. Not very long, but phenomenal. Because they don't try too hard. They're not sitting here trying to remake the same magic they made 20 years ago. And it's what, as a matter of fact, what brings me to talking about this, because I have to get ready for class here in a moment, is the fact that I'm hearing even more people talking about this. They're not pointing to them specifically, but they're talking about this regurgitation of the same formula over and over again, and then expecting all the players to buy it, and then getting mad when nobody buys it, when the only people that buy it are neckbeards who just love spending money. Like their favorite thing to do in the world is to spend money, go to work, and talk to their friends about how much money they spent. Or do it online, or whatever the hell they do. A lot of these games are being made for that kind of person. They don't care that the gamers are buying the games. They'll still be able to sell it to the person who has too much money and not enough to do. In my opinion, the fact that these companies are still making these regurgitation, these copy pasta formula games shows that how hurt the industry actually is. For instance, when something like a concert on Rust, literally the first of its kind, Burnt Peanut, Mr. Wobbles, Cloaksy, and bunch of people, bunch of that group of people and connection with those people, a bunch of them put on a concert, built a stage, did lighting, stands, and it was. I watched a good portion of it. It was awesome. It was absolutely awesome. That's how you can tell the state of the gaming is in a pickle. When a concert on Rust is dominating gaming headlines. And you can say, well, no, it's Pragmata stuff. Literally, nobody gives a damn about Pragmata. Really, Asmongold is probably the pushing voice of Pragmata. So who cares? Really, don't care that they decided to make another flashy game with probably janky, an entirely janky system. As a matter of fact, I will buy more copies of the hell was it? It just came out. I just added it to my wish list too. This. I will buy more copies of this game than I will ever buy of Pragmata. I probably won't ever play Pragmata. Only because it just doesn't seem like that kind of game. Like I'm a gamer who gets really invested in story. Very invested in story. And a game that is centered around pushing people, pulling on people's heartstrings and pushing them into wanting like create like the entire family dynamic. I'm already well past being able to do that. I don't see myself as somebody that a woman would want to be around for that long of a period of time to be able to have a family and kids and all that. So that's a pipe dream for me. That's all wishes, dreams, pipe dreams, hopes, plans for another life. So playing a game that like always pushes in my face how much I've kind of failed that one dream of mine. No, I'm good. I'll pass on. I don't care how good the story is. I don't care how phenomenal the graphics are. I don't care how seamless the system is. I don't care. It's a game that's built on my essentially my personal failure, or what I see as my own personal failure. So again, it might be a great game, but I won't buy it. I won't buy it. It's just not. I don't want to be presented with the one thing I've never been able to accomplish. Like the one thing that I've wanted to do my entire life, but I've never been able to accomplish. And I don't think I will be able to. It's just not not something that I feel is feasible at my age. I'm 40 years old. Most women my age don't want any more kids, don't want any kids at all, are lesbians. Unfortunately, that's where I'm at. I want a family. I don't want somebody that's just gonna fucking fly, because that won't fucking fly. I'm just not in that. I want to be with somebody that actually is, that I can be with, that has a personality that isn't like grading nails on a chalkboard in a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Because a lot of women are like that for me. Like a lot of women, they feel like they have to be like guys. Let the dudes be the ones who tries too hard to do things. Like it's literally part of our jobs, and the reason we were created is to try too hard to do simple stuff. Women, you don't need to try so hard to get a guy. If you're a good woman with some type of intelligence, or at least is striving to be an intellectual person, then look for people, look for somebody, because that's if you're that kind of woman, and you don't have to be financially put to, and that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem where I find myself in, is that the world has built everything to be, you got to combine households. If you don't have anything, what do you expect to combine? Like, what happened to the whole building thing? Isn't it like, when did we stop trying to build a home and turn to just trying to buy it all? Like, why are we trying to buy everything? Why aren't we building anything anymore? And I'm not talking about literally building your home. Yeah, I mean, in a lot of cases, yes, build your home. It's probably going to be way cheaper than trying to buy one and change it into what you want. But the thing is like, we have gotten away from the whole building a family, building a relationship, building a home. It's all gone from that to buying it all. I don't want to build a home. I just want to buy one. Like, to me, it's no different than actors and actresses who just want to do it for the job. They want to act for the job. They're not movie watchers. They don't care about movies. They don't even care about the movie they're working on. They just want to act because it's a high-paying job. It's the same thing. It's the same thing as any other worker that don't belong in a job. It's literally stealing that job from somebody who wants to be in that job. Because every job, someone wants to be in it. There is a person that wants to do that job in their sleep, when they're awake, when they die, when they're reborn. They want God to do the job too. A person that doesn't want to do their job shouldn't be allowed to continue to do their job. You don't like being there? Okay, you're not there no more. We're going to find somebody who absolutely loves to be there, because that's what it really takes to work these jobs. If we stopped putting people in places that they don't belong, which is why companies like FromSoftware get away with making the same game for 20 years, is because they keep filling their ranks with workers, not people who want to do whatever. They fill their ranks with workers. People who just show up because it's a job and they get paid handsomely for it. And if it succeeds, they get maybe a bump. I'd say maybe not. In the companies like FromSoftware, probably not. Those dudes, they're bullied. They were bullied as kids. So they've sworn to bully everybody else for the rest of their life. And that probably includes their worker. I would like to hear what it's like to work at FromSoftware from an actual employee, not from some turd ball who's in management, because we all know you're incentivized to lie. Like, straight up, through your teeth, cover them up, and lie. I want to hear from the guy that designed Milos' sword that got paid 17 cents for the popularity of that character. Because Dung Eater is a fucking hugely popular character. And even though Milos' sword is not the greatest sword, his puppet is a fantastic puppet. For the sense that if you're a caster and you can't take being beat on too much, Milos, Dung Eater, is probably your best bet. Because he constantly finds ways to keep the aggro on himself. But But again, I guarantee the guy that designed Milos' sword or Milos' gear, his armor, even Milos in general. Like, to be honest, Dung Eater doesn't sound like something that George R.R. Martin created. That sounds like something a gaming nerd created. Somebody that played Jack and Daxter back in the fucking Nintendo 64 days. Ratchet and Clank. That's the person to design Dung Eater. George R.R. Martin didn't create Dung. He may have created a curse character, a character that's embodiment of this nasty curse. But I guarantee you, Dung Eater / Milos was created by an actual gamer. But again, the person who probably created him got paid dick. Probably lost his job. They probably lost their job because they did something that George R.R. Martin couldn't do. Write a good character, write a good story. Because George R.R. Martin's stories are trash. I'm sorry. You can literally pick out every bit of his stories and find them everywhere else. Like I've read books that are dragon books, dragon stories that make all of his the hell is that show called? I don't even remember the name. Game of Thrones. Damn. Game of Thrones makes Game of Thrones look dumb. Looks like a cheesy comic book. I've growing up, I've read some of the best fantasy novels I've ever read. You've never heard of them in a visual format, and you'll never hear of them in a visual format because nobody was reading them then. Nobody's gonna watch them now. Nobody cares about it. Even though there's some that are way better. I mean, George R.R. Martin doesn't write good stories. He doesn't. He writes a very mediocre mid story. And it's the hopes of the company that's designing whatever based on it. It's the hope that they can interpret it good or correctly and portray it in a good light. Because outside of that, it's dog shit. It's dog shit. The story is janky. It's probably why they had to write in a bunch of endings in the game, because the story is mid. Even the standard ending in Elden Ring is very mid. Is a lazy, low grade story ending. And it's almost like when is somebody who's just there to play the game. It's basically one of those endings that they're gonna be like, really? That's it? And then the whole Elden Ring community is like, oh, there you go, sounded like a woman. You always want more. When they could easily give a better ending and make the unique endings actually unique, not separated by 7 seconds of a cutscene. Like, actually make the endings legit ending. Don't just say, the world looks like this now and show me a still image of it. And not show me, like, what's going on. I've played through the story once. I did Ronnie's ending. And Ronnie's ending is, from what I've seen, is one of the only ones that's kind of different. All the other one has like the same intro scene, and then it just alters like 17 seconds at the end. Again, mediocre storytelling, very mediocre storytelling. They want to go back to good storytelling. Maybe stop, because you accomplished it. Dark Souls 1 was a good storytelling. For what you were trying to do, it was good. Leave it at that. Stop trying to recreate that magic of Dark Souls 1. Again, this is a really good game. This is a really good game. Two super simple games. Very simple. Very simple games. And that's, it doesn't take a whole bunch to make them good. But when you have companies like this that are addicted to white whaleism, they misinterpret what good is. It's because a bunch of neckbeards who literally they go to work, come home, beat their wife, play Elden Ring. Go to work, come home, beat their wife, play Call of Duty. Go to work, come home, beat their wife, play Elden Ring. To me, that's the only people that, in my opinion, that's the only people that say, oh yeah, this is the best game ever made. Because it's not. It's really not. If a game that makes you break it in order to make it good is not a good game. It's very poor and lazy. It's very poor and lazy. Tons of copy pasta throughout the entire map, all over the place. They hid the lore, hide it, and a lot of it's not even explained. It's like they wanted this world to just be believed that it appeared out of nowhere. No, it's been in existence forever, but there's no actual history of this world. I'm talking about in the game world. Now you go through and you read the history of this game through the game world. It's like they have no like original God creation point. Like all of a sudden, the God of their world brought it into existence and then decided it wanted to start taking it out of existence. Like one day was one day too many. I'm done with it. Get out of here. And that's how they wrote this story. This story is built on like no beginning. No beginning. They try to explain your story, the Tarnished, as some graceless being who is destined to walk the lands between until called back by grace to take up the seat of Elden. It's like, it's a stupid story. It makes no sense. It's like, where did the Tarnished come from? Like, who were they? Why did they get stripped of their grace? Like, tell us the story. Don't just drop us in the end of the world and then hope that we don't ask questions about the beginning of it. Because that's what's happened. You literally, for a 3, Bloodborne, Sekiro, Elden. For 5 generations of stories, you feel the need to just drop us in the end of the world and never tell us how it all started. Never tell us how even the end of the world started. And I don't care if you say Queen America, she decided to do. That's fucking lazy. The queen just decides, I hate everybody. I'm gonna break the Elden Ring. Like, what is going on? Well, they killed her husband, son, uncle, whatever. Like, the shit makes no sense. Somebody got murdered. Bitch got mad, broke the only thing that kept order, sent the world into chaos, and me, some random dude who's meant to walk the lands between, never being able to see grace, all of a sudden, oh yeah, we lied about that. Shit's gone south. You can see grace again. Are you trying to sell me religion? Again, the story fucking makes no sense. It's a bunch of nonsense put together in the hopes that no one actually dives in and is like, what story are they actually telling here? Are you telling a story of some god queen who got mad that her son or somebody or whoever was murdered? So she broke the ring. Again, this is why I do not agree and will never agree that this is the game of the year of whatever year it came out. That year must have been super slim in gaming if this game won game of the year with how shoddy the story is. How many plot holes are throughout the friggin' story? Like none of it makes sense. None of the like there's like the armies of the big bads, they make sense. Most every other enemy doesn't make sense. There's no lore to, like, there's maybe like one lore sheet to the Iron Maidens. But even then, it's like one of them will send you to this other place. Okay. So I guess I'll avoid that. Or I'll go to it if I need to go there. What are the points of why were the Iron Maidens created? Who were they made by? Why did that one troll uprise against the rest, or the one giant uprise against the rest of the giant? Why was the fire giant so pissed off? Why was burning the Erd tree considered like a blasphemous act? When even though you burn the Erd tree, if you pick Ronnie's ending, it still gives the world a good ending. Like, so wouldn't burning the Erd tree be like the thing to do? Like maybe that's why they wrote it into the main quest is you got to burn the Erd tree. But again, it's like, why is the game treating burning the Erd tree like a blasphemous act when it's actually my responsibility to burn the tree? Like, it's not like the enemies thing is say it's bad. All of the NPCs, all of them say burning the Erd tree is bad. Do not burn the Erd tree. But yet you have to do it anyway. It's like written into the game. You have to burn it. If it's so bad, then why? And again, the people who were told you're gonna roam the lands between to never see grace again. But when you do get to see grace again, it's your responsibility to blaspheme against the religion that is otherwise showing you the grace, guiding you to it. And again, it makes no sense. You could poke holes all through it by asking simple questions about it. Like why is it so blasphemous when it's actually has to be done? In order for this world to heal, you have to burn the Erd tree. And why did the embodiment of willpower, why was it seeking shelter inside of Radigan? Why was it inside of Radigan? And how did something that massive shrink down inside of Radigan? And if Radigan was the embodiment of free will, wouldn't Radigan not want anyone to stop you? Like he would essentially want to fight alongside of you, right? If Radigan, the Golden Order, has the embodiment of willpower inside of his body, Wouldn't he want you to burn the Erd tree? Wouldn't he want to side with you in taking down all of the shard bearers? These are the things that I say should not have qualified this, should have qualified this game and this company for not being able to win this award, for not being able to sell this game at a much larger scale than they should have been able to. This game should have been stuck down to its niche crowd like it usually is, like every other software game is. But again, they were able to sell it to people who actually work jobs, don't go home and beat their wives every night and play video games for the entirety of the evening. People who, when they want to play video games, they want to play it for a few hours maybe and then go do something else. They don't want to be locked into a few hours of playing the same boss because they can't leave that area. They're locked into that area. They stupidly roamed where they shouldn't have, and now they're locked into it and have to somehow fight their way to getting stronger while also losing everything for dying copious amounts of time. None of it makes sense. None of these enemies and these bosses really make sense to the story. The big bads and maybe the Black Knife Assassins, maybe, and even in, maybe some of the ulcers, because I mean the Scarlet Rot thing. Again, why does it always need to have some weird dotted thing on it, like Scarlet Rot? She's afflicted with the Scarlet Rot. It goes in and it affects your insides, and it just turns you monstrous. Lazy. It's lazy. It's just another way for you to say, I'm going to throw dots at you. I'm going to have a massive AoE that you can't dodge, or have like a very tiny window of dodging to it. But otherwise, you're just going to have a rough time. Because every boss is going to have every attack type. They're going to have slam attacks, jump attacks, dot attacks, AoE attacks, flail attacks. They're going to have revenge attacks. They all have their counter attacks. Their counter attacks are what they do when you try to heal, what they do when you miss a parry, or what they do when they break your guard. They're all coded with, they all have all categories of attack. All of them. All enemies, all bosses, and all FromSoftware games have all array of attacks. They could say it's to keep people from cheesing, but again, if people have to cheese your game and you have to counter people cheesing your game, then you're probably doing it wrong. And if you're another crazy thing is like, if people find cheese, that's because you've oversighted. You've like missed some oversight somewhere. Wouldn't you think you would patch out the cheese instead of punishing? Like you knew the cheese was there, so instead of fixing the cheese, you put in an anti-cheese measure within the boss. Instead of fixing the cheese, instead of patching out, fixing, whatever, you put in anti-cheese measures within the boss. You know people are going to go out and farm that dragon for millions of relics. What do? You put in anti-cheese measures within all of your bosses. All of your enemies have an anti-cheese measure. If you don't know it exists, that's because you haven't triggered it yet. I promise you, every one of them, this entire game has anti-cheese measures built into it. You think it doesn't exist? It does. The only way to get around some of these anti-cheese measures is to be OP. to where you basically one shot whatever you're hitting. Again, a company who has to purposely put in anti-cheese measures should never be able to win any kind of award. Sorry. Sorry to tell you, you've put in stuff that go against the gamer because you don't want to change how you make games. And the reason they leave all their cheese in their games is because they purposely make their games to where it takes you hours and upon hours to get through even a small section of the game. Because even people with thousands of hours in this game still die to stupid stuff. Because this company's put in anti-cheese measures. And people who know how to trigger them can tell you, yeah, oh yeah, there are lots of anti-cheese measures in this game. They do a lot of stuff in this game and probably in the other ones. I mean, they didn't just start here. And I know in Dark Souls 1, they patched some stuff, but ultimately a lot of their anti-cheese measures are like things that they can predict. Like they can't predict a drop attack on top of a boss if they've put the boss somewhere. So unfortunately, they're going to have to deal with that. But what they can do is they can do something that adds an attack or whatever to the boss. So say you played Dark Souls 1 OG back in the day. Oh yeah, you just do this to that boss. And then somebody today's like, nah, watch. And they try it. It's successful, but the damage isn't there. And the boss has a retaliation attack for it. That's because the company has gone in, knows they can't take away that cheese because they would have to change a major portion of the game, and that would cost them a lot of money. If their job is to make money, spending a bunch of money because they missed something in oversight, they're not going to do it. They'll just put in and test a retaliation attack for anybody that triggers this, and it's easy. The game knows when you've done a jump attack. It knows you're airborne when the attack happens. Yeah, it's a jump attack. So all they have to do is code in a retaliation metric when that's triggered. Anytime a jump attack is triggered, regardless of jump attack, even if you're jumping in the air, and well, in Dark Souls 1, it's not a jump. It's your roll is the jump. It's like, yeah, it's weird how Dark Souls 1 works. Your sprint and your dodge roll are the same command, but they don't have a dedicated jump button. Your jump is essentially your sprint and your dodge roll. That also serves as your jump. So it's not like this, how they can easily predict it. For Dark Souls 1, it's just basically when the attack comes from the character being airborne, it triggers a jump attack or the jump attack damage. And all they have to do is anytime that's triggered, make the boss retaliate, regardless if you're using a heavy weapon that staggers or not, the boss will retaliate. All of their bosses have it. They all have retaliation metrics built in. Go into a boss, deal a high level amount of damage instantly. Watch that boss instant retaliation or instant flail attack. It's because they have parameters set to where that's their anti-cheese metric. It's basically saying you're over leveled for being here, so we've evolved this boss to cover that. Now, granted, if you are a caster and the boss is a melee boss and you can create the distance, yeah, it'll be easier to see the retaliation and you'll be able to dodge out of the way of it, or you'll already be out of the way. But if you're one of the kind of people that are like, man, I'm underleveled for everything, so you figure out the cheese method for getting relics, you go and you do that, you pump your stats, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna crush this. You go in, you smack that boss one time, and it still smacks you for hella damage. You're like, what the hell? Oh, that's right. Because your defense stats scales with the armor doesn't actually really scale with your level. It does, but very minutely. Your defense very, very minutely scales with your armor. It scales more with your stats than it does your armor, which is why you see characters running around butt ass naked. Is because the armor is just weight. It's just a bunch of weight that you don't need. It cuts down your sprint, cuts down your dodge, and with a light load, you can dodge even further. You can sprint for longer. You don't have to pump endurance out of the fucking world. But you also lose those values of defense. Oh, and the little whatever it procs. But you lose minimal values. It's very minimal values. Unless you're wearing extremely heavy armor, then you're pretty much you're not losing many values when you dump the armor. That's why a lot of veteran players end up play through 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever, dumping armor. Because they just want to speed run it. They want to get all the best stuff and see if they can one-shot bosses to put it up on Facebook and YouTube and TikTok. Look what you can do in Elden Ring if you put 5,000 hours into the game and learn every metric. Again, it's not good design. To me, it's lazy. It's very lazy, very poor. Because it's no different. It's Dark Souls 1 with more steps. A lot more steps. Literally and figuratively. So yeah, I'm going to get ready for class. I probably won't be back. I don't know. This whole streaming thing is just... I used to enjoy doing it regardless, but I don't work a regular job. Not for the lack of trying. Nobody's been willing to hire me for a job. And you can't say it's because of my personality or my mouth, because I'm on my own time. I'm at home on my own time. I have a professional side of me. I have multiple. I don't change my personality. It's just the way I speak becomes more professional. The way I engage in conversation is more professional. And you don't see me doing the acting. You don't see me playing my character. When I stream, I play my character. And my character is the gamer who's been gaming for his whole life, who's not just invested game time in it, but I've invested a lot of research hours. I've invested review hours. I've played games just to see what they're like. There was a time I was able to buy games just to play them, just to give people my opinion on them, because at one point in time, people actually valued my opinion when it came to video games. Not no more, because pretty much if I find any bit of copy pasta, nope, it's a negative for me. I don't recommend it for anybody, especially new gamers, because they're going to be sold by the glitz and the glamour and quickly find out that it's all a facade. Smoke and mirrors, it's a facade, and if you allow yourself to be addicted to this company and the games that they make, you will get into a point where you'll always accept what they release. And it should never be the case. That's why the gaming industry is hurting, and it's continuing to hurt, and it won't get any better. I referred to it earlier. That's why a Rust concert is the talk of the town. Not just because it's burnt peanut, it's because the gaming world is so bored of even the games. We're finding entertainment in a concert on Rust. Mr. Wobbles he's a hell of a music artist, sure. I watched it. I actually ran into his little cloaksy. I said the title said it's cloaksy disc, but it didn't sound like it was a cloaksy disc. It's just he just used Cloaksy's name a couple times. But Mr. Wobbles is really good, and the music in it is really cool. The whole thing was really awesome. And if you didn't know any better, you would think you were at a real concert. That's why I can tell you the gaming industry is hurting. Because concerts on Rust are top headlines, and they have to outshine that with weird people talking about normalization of sexualization of the depiction of a child. That's how you can tell the gaming industry's in. Because that's pretty much all I've seen for the last 24 hours is people being weird about it and people being weirded out about the weird about it. I'm irritated by it all. Like, why is this a thing? And like, why did you guys even allow this to be a thing? You knew this was going to be a thing. You knew these weird people exist that overly sexualize children, but yet you gave them their out. Because you want to push people into having babies? What's the reason for Pragmata, really? What's the reason for Pragmata? Because all I've seen is it's being more or less, it's kind of like a propaganda to get gamers into having kids. Because those are really the only people that are playing the game. Gamers. People that have to play the game because it's out. It came out. I have to play it. Of course, there's weird people who are going to sexualize it. Of course, there's going to be people that argue it. I mean, it just it's a game made to propagandize birth rates. I mean, I will agree with that. If you're causing even a good number of dude gamers to want to kind of turn not away from gaming, but kind of like alter their path from gaming into family life, as heavy propaganda. It's a lot of brainwash material in there that are having people who otherwise, like, yeah, there are probably a large number of gamers who wish, I'm one of them, I wish I could have a family. But I know it's just not realistic. And a lot of those gamers are that way. We wish for it, but it's not realistic. It's just not realistic. For a lot of us, it's not realistic.